Hi.
I'm your plastic and enthusiastic host, Rio Lefevre.
I'm your scholastic, fantastic host, Will Kauser.
And welcome back to episode 3 of One, two, three. Mind Over Mattel. A Barbie movie breakdown. The podcast. Welcome back, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Missed you.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Me?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to the fans. Okay.
It's raining.
Okay.
It's dark.
Uh-huh.
You're cold.
Always.
You're not dressed for this weather.
Never.
It's the middle of the night. Probably 2 a.m.
Whoa.
There's no moon.
Where'd it go?
You're in the middle of a forest.
Oh, shoosh. Shoosh?
Shoosh, indeed.
I meant to say shoot and sheesh. Sorry, keep going.
You hold a lantern aloft as you walk through the dark night. Only the sounds of rain in your footsteps can be heard. You're a camp counselor.
Obviously.
And you're scared.
Oh.
It's your job to check in on all the campers.
Uh-huh.
Young children.
They scare me?
No, you're just in charge of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
responsibility.
You creak open the door. And there they are, all peacefully asleep. Except for one.
Huh?
A bed is empty. You've lost a young girl.
Oh my gosh, oh no.
She could be dead.
What am I gonna do? Where could he be? Well, please tell me what happens. I'm really freaking out.
Nothing happens.
Oh.
She's just outside and she's just sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
She's just Shelly and she sucks. This is not Friday the 13th, part 2.
Nope.
This is Barbie of Swan Lake.
Barbie up. Mind the preposition. It's Barbie of. She rose out of the lake.
Barbie of Swan Lake.
The lock.
Begins as a 1980s horror film.
He kind of does, yeah.
That's the framing device on this one. I am happy to report I once again forgot that these movies have framing devices and was pissed when it happened. But this is the coolest one.
It goes away eventually, right? Everybody?
It's gotta.
I think it does.
Does the Princess and the Pauper have a framing device?
I don't think so.
Because that's why it's going to be my first.
So
12
I think
out of
we
12.
might be out of the woods by going through the woods of this one.
This is the most interesting framing device because it is so scary at first. Barbie looks cool, camp counselor Barbie.
Slay.
Shelly is scared because she has a race or something the next day.
She's at a summer camp.
Race.
I think she's kind of worried about not fitting in.
It's either she's doing a foot race, a horse race, or swimming are probably
Could be a
your
potato
options.
sack, little jumping.
Mm-hmm, one of those wheelbarrow, you hold somebody's legs and they have to run on their hands.
I love those ones.
I don't like those
I'm
ones.
really good at those.
But
I bet we'd be a great team.
If you fall and you just like scrape your face on the ground for a second because the person keeps pushing you.
Yeah.
So that's this one for whatever reason.
Yep. Well, and how do we get into the story? Do you remember?
The same way we always do. I don't remember.
So she's scared, and Barbie is like, look up at the sky. You'll notice all of the constellations that we all know, like Orion's Belt and the Little Dipper, and one that looks like the perfect outline of a yassified swan. Let me tell you a story about me as a swan.
Is that it?
That's like kind of how we get into it.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I remember the constellation at the end and feeling confused because I had forgotten the framing device by the end of it.
Yeah.
It always gets me at the beginning, and it always gets me at the end.
It's true. It's kind of a jump scare because you're like closing the story. Barbie's typically getting married, and then you hear the eerie little voice of Shelly Kelly.
Just come creeping
like,
back
I guess
in.
I can race. And it's like, whoa.
Well, here's actually what the framing device of this movie should be.
Okay.
This movie,
okay.
Here's the director's cut that I propose.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't start with Shelly and Barbie. It just hard cuts opening with Barbie as Odette in her bakery or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the framing device is that before this movie, there's a big old Disney-style warning that is like, hey, just a heads up. This movie was made in 2003, and we were still pretty into anti-Semitic stereotypes at the time.
Yeah, there maybe should be.
I think let's just upfront acknowledge
that. Yeah,
it's a part of the Swan Lake thing. Tchaikovsky, as a writer, in Russia in the 18th century. Any idea when Tchaikovsky was alive?
Nope.
He was probably pretty anti-Semitic. He's made some anti-Semitic work.
Yeah.
Tchaikovsky, and they're playing off of that, and the bad guy Rothbart is that's a Ashkenazi Jewish name that means like red beard, I believe.
Oh, interesting.
And so the character,
I think that's like also the name of the character in the ballet.
It's the
too.
ballet is anti-Semitic.
Okay,
too.
yeah, that's interesting. I maybe just thought this interpretation was.
So he's not. It would be unfair to say that he's not playing to a Jewish caricature.
And his character design just does rely on a lot of Jewish stereotype.
It is a literal caricature, like Jewish stereotype that sucks really bad.
Really bad.
And we're recording this in February of 2023, which for some reason is just the hottest, newest resurgence of anti-Semitism. And that really sucks dookie.
Stop doing that, everyone. Knock it off.
If you're an anti-Semite and you just love this movie and that's why you're listening, bye. See ya.
Get off the podcast.
You go ahead and leave us a 1-star review. I will allow it from you and just say, I didn't like this podcast because I'm anti-Semitic.
That's great.
And you just go ahead and get that in writing.
Love that.
And I'd love it if you could just get that out there.
Yeah.
So neither of us are Jewish. This isn't our, cultural wheelhouse. But it's totally worth mentioning up front that, this completely sucks in this movie.
It's bad.
And now on to the bits and goofs.
We open in a bakery, and we are introduced to Odette. She is the baker's daughter. She's very shy, but she's a wonderful dancer. There's this weird kind of moment where Shelley Kelly inserts into the story, because she's baking, Odette is baking, and she receives sugar cookies from her father, and her dad goes, I made sugar cookies, your favorite. And Shelley Kelly goes, can they be chocolate chip?
This is the scariest part of the movie. It starts as a Friday the 13th sequel, and the scariest part of the movie is when you think that Shelley is going to be an active participant in the film, because you hear her voiceover demand that the cookies be changed to chocolate chip, and it's like, okay, she's going to be a part of the storytelling in this one, and it's all over from here. Fortunately, to my benefit, it never comes up again. But it also makes it so insane that they just put one instance in.
Yeah, but then I feel like the insanity of the cookie swap is topped by, then her dad is like, I have to get my cornbread out of the oven, and then he pulls 2 regular loaves of bread out of the oven. And also explain why cornbread.
Look, guys, this is clearly a Bavarian German kind of village that they're
Germany,
going for.
Austria, 1500s.
It's got to be early 1500s.
That's what I'm guessing.
And as we all know, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Corn is a New World crop.
Oh, it might be before that because they
believe that the Earth is flat.
That is a plot point in this movie, is that some of the characters believe that the Earth is flat.
They've clearly not discovered the New World yet. Because the prince gets given a cube globe.
Yes.
That's a funny bit of didn't people used to be so dumb? Anyway, isn't it funny to make fun of Jewish people? That's what this movie's about. I'm just going to say it up front. This is the worst one yet.
Yeah.
How about that?
It is.
I'm ready to get into
but
it and find the good things.
You're put up against powerhouses. There's things to love about Swan Lake, and we were talking about this. There are things that this movie does better than all of them, maybe.
Some really key things.
You're put up against Nutcracker and Rapunzel. You can't be expecting a great Dancing Princess's score.
Also, at one point, the bad guy's daughter gets skunked on, and they're like, we're going to wash you in vinegar.
You're bouncing all over. We got to go in order.
No, I'm not bouncing all over, because you need to take a bath with vinegar and tomato juice. Tomatoes are also a New World crop.
True.
Completely inconsistent.
So cornbread?
No.
Can't have it. Tomato juice bath?
And chocolate chip cookies.
Not
invented for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Do we get to claim those as American?
Yeah, totally. That's probably the most American dessert that exists. So I think maybe read a book for once, Barbie.
Yeah. But anyways, Odette is an interesting character.
I just know that Barbie knows these things, which is what's so disappointing to me.
I don't know. Maybe it was
Barbie knows better.
Maybe Hollywood just
She's been a history teacher. She's probably taught in a university. I bet she has some academic writing that's been peer-reviewed and published.
I think that she also captained the Santa Maria.
And she was there.
Or the Nina.
And was advocating for more ethical practices in the new world.
Yeah.
And so she should know better. But I think that's ultimately why this is the worst one. Because there's so many things that Barbie you just should have known better.
Yeah, I bet she did.
Barbie, I should have known better is the doll that came with
Barbie,
this.
I should have known better.
Barbie, I'll do better next time is the special doll that you can get with this film. It came it packed in the DVD special box set.
Yeah. So let's talk about Odette. Odette is an interesting character.
Odette's Barbie's best role.
It's like a character. It's not just Barbie.
Barbie's actually the protagonist of this movie.
It's true.
Which is the biggest plus for this movie.
That is nice. But Odette is interesting because she loves to dance, but she doesn't want to go out dancing. And she has this sister who's way cooler than her. That's like, I'm so good at riding horses. Do you want to come with me? And Barbie goes, thanks. And her sister goes, but no thanks, right? Just showing that
Odette's boring.
Odette's boring. Homegirl doesn't do anything.
Which is, like, good for Barbie for choosing, like, a less interesting character. She's stretching her acting chops, I think, with this one. This is not, like, an idealized person at this point. There's room for a character arc for Barbie in this one. But I do think it's so immediately overshadowed by the fact that her sister's so much cooler. She's so much cooler, but she gets no screen time because she's a brunette. So get her out.
And Odette's kind of inciting incident, what gets us into the story, is that a unicorn runs through the town while she happens to be out and about. And the villagers are all trying to kill this unicorn or
kill it for sure.
Kidnap it maybe.
Kill it.
Kill. End this unicorn's life.
Kill and eat this unicorn.
But this unicorn, is unicorn a New World crop though?
Old World.
Okay. This unicorn gets like a piece of rope stuck around her neck.
Yep, she gets hanged.
No, but it is snagging on things. So I keep calling her a Barbie. Odette runs off into the forest to try and help out this unicorn, and she gets deeper into the forest, finds a like magical cave thing that the unicorn taps with her horn, and she can go in. And then Barbie sneaks in also, and she's in a different forest that looks slightly more manicured.
It's presumably like a walled-off forest.
Yeah, it's like a magical forest area. And the unicorn is stuck. And this unicorn, find out her name is Lila. Every movie's got to have a horse. And she's mean. She's really mean. Like, the first thing that she says to Odette is like, well, are you going to stand there with your mouth open or are you going to cut me loose? And I would cry and leave if that was the first thing that a talking horse said to me.
It's pretty mean.
She's harsh sometimes. I like her, but woo.
There's so many times where the filmmakers, you can tell they wanted to have the unicorn stab somebody with her horn. And then they just, like show you after.
Does she just not know about murder?
She's got to. I presume that unicorns, unlike horses, are carnivorous.
Oh.
Why else would they have the horn?
Interesting. It's not really established.
Horn,
yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I don't really know much about unicorns. And she has razor-sharp teeth. Hey, if you're a unicorn biologist, phone in. Let us know, because we'll probably need that for later. But Barbie finds this crystal in a mound, and she takes that crystal and she cuts her unicorn friend loose. And then a bunch of magical little animals and a fairy queen arrive, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so rad. And Odette's like, what? And she's like, nobody's been able to pull that little pink crystal out of the ground, but you could, which means that you are the one who can save us. Save us from what?
Well, isn't that just the laziest possible plot point you could write?
Just the sword and the stone.
The sword and the stone is like, well, you're the chosen one. And Barbie, I actually really enjoy this, has like such innate main character energy. I don't think she can ever like really do anything else because she immediately, they're like, you are the chosen one. You're the one we've been waiting for. And she's like, oh. I knew it. Like, you get the sense, she's like rejecting, like it's very hero's journey. She has the refusal.
Well, she's like, I am the chosen one, but I don't think I can help you. It's like kind of the vibe.
In the sense.
She's like, thanks for the crystal.
That like every child does expect their own hero's journey moment to actually happen where they enter this magical world that has been waiting for them this whole time.
She's like, all my years of being shy and off-putting have paid off.
Of not dancing have prepared me for this.
Yeah.
So she's kind of ready to rock eventually and take on this mantle. You've asked me to explain the conflict which I will try my best.
Yeah.
I remember a whole...
I just want to see you try, baby.
A whole spiritual creation story of the fairies and this war where the fairy queen, who's very Galadriel-esque from Lord of the Rings, and I'm sure she has a name of her own. But
I couldn't find it, though.
But her and, like, Rothbart, who's the bad guy, are, like, cousins.
I think so.
And he wanted to be bad and take over the kingdom and not just be content in the forest. And so he learned evil magics and has begun using a magical ring to turn everybody into animals.
Yeah, because the fairy queen got to become the fairy queen, and Rothbart is just Rothbart
wanted to be
and
the
not
fairy
the
queen.
fairy king, fairy queen, whatever he wanted.
What Rothbart is Frasier.
That is what he is.
He's Frasier from the TV show Frasier.
Yeah.
What's Frasier's name? Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer does the voice for Rothbart. And we joke about this all the time. I think everybody else does a pretty good performance. This one is probably literally phoned in.
It kind of sounds like he's just doing a callback for it got the lines for the first time. And so some of the line readings are so funky and it's so fun.
I think they called him and recorded a conversation and then just edited those into the movie.
Hey, Kelsey, we've got a great part for you. Would you just give us a quick little read of it? And he's like reading it and he's like, no, I don't want to be in this. And
he
like,
reads.
Oh, no problem. You don't have to be in it. And then they save that phone recording and just edit it into the movie.
I'm sure they didn't tell him what the project was. There's never any acting that happens at any point. It's insane.
It's so funny. It's really great.
Worth a watch to see what it's like to just get a paycheck.
Yeah, which I'm fully supportive of actors like don't give your 100%. That's not sustainable. Shoot for less than 100%. But our man Frasier is giving maybe like 25%.
I can only assume he's the highest paid actor in this. He's the biggest name. So maybe give it something.
But it kind of works, honestly. He's not given anything, and I don't know, maybe I'm just really like nostalgic and affectionate of this performance, but
it's not good.
It's pretty
weird.
As
someone with no nostalgia, it's a bad performance. And he shows up and he says, "Oh, you have the crystal, which means that you're destined to defeat me," or something.
Something like
presumably.
that. Yeah, close enough.
And so he turns her into a swan.
Yeah, well, he tries to straight up murder Odette.
Yeah, just to kill her,
But she has the crystal, and the fairy queen had made it into a little crown for her to wear.
It's cool.
It is a pretty cool crown. It kind of sits like lower on her forehead. It's neat. Yeah, he's trying to kill her, or maybe he's trying to turn her into a swan.
I believe that no human
can
harm the person who's holding the crystal.
Yeah.
And so...
like, nobody can harm anybody with the crystal.
He can just turn her into a swan.
So she gets turned into a swan, but it's only for... during the day, she's a swan, and at night she can be Odette.
Is that a part of the ballet? Or is she just turned into a swan until the end? It's got to be that, right? Because they turn Barbie into a swan, fully into a CGI bird. And your first thought watching this, my first thought watching this, is this can't be sustainable. Like, this is Barbie. Everybody who's watching this movie is watching this so they can look at Barbie. That's the feminine gaze. Like, that's why we're here. And they turn her into a swan pretty much immediately, like right at the end of Act 1. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, what a commitment to, like, turn your star to completely change them into something else. But there's this whole caveat that, like, the sun rises and it's fine. And she just turns back into Barbie.
Yeah.
Which is just because no one would watch this movie if Barbie was a swan the whole time.
If she was a swan the whole time.
Go watch The Swan Princess if that's what you want.
It's true.
But that's not what this movie is.
I think in the ballet, I don't know. I've never seen Swan Lake, you guys. So I think in the ballet she might just straight up be a swan, and then I think the prince like shoots her and she dies, and that's the plot of Swan Lake. Spoilers. But that's not the plot of this one.
Well, in this one, the prince shows up because Rothbart, like, lures him there because he wants to kill Barbie. Mm-hmm. So he can take the stone, or, like, so she can't beat him. Guys, I watched this movie yesterday.
Okay, let's back up.
I have no idea.
Let's back up. So we have Rothbart. Rothbart also has a daughter named Odile, which is, like, the name of the Black Swan character in the ballet. I do know that. So Odile is his daughter. She's voiced by Maggie Wheeler, who you probably would recognize from Friends. She's got
the voice.
Chandler, like that. That sound.
Yeah, that is the sound.
That is the sound. She slays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, her character sucks really bad,
So
but that's
bad.
what she got paid to do.
You know what, Maggie? If you're listening, you know you're typecast, and you rock it. And I fully support that. So then there is a prince, Prince Daniel. We're introduced to him back at the castle.
Yeah, he gets his own setup, which is a great first kind of like really leaning into the rom-com where it's like, what if we established both of our romantic leads as individuals first?
I also think that this prince has a little bit more character to him than
he's great.
maybe
I
Stefan
like him. He's the best
Daniel's
prince.
Great.
And Odette's the best Barbie.
It's
like
so
this
far.
movie starts out really good.
It does.
With so much promise.
Yeah.
And it loses me somewhere. Maybe we can find it.
I think there's great characters, but
great
anyways,
characters.
so we're introduced to Daniel. He's got a fun mom. The mom has invited a bunch of princesses because she wants grandchildren. But she's like pretty cool about it, actually. I feel like that's kind of such an overdone plot point. But I think Prince Daniel's
the
mom.
forced marriage thing.
Yeah.
She's cool with like whoever he wants to marry, but she wants to get him meeting people.
Yeah. So he goes out and about and he's hunting, which this is in the ballet. This is where Odette straight up dies. But Daniel's hunting and Rothbart tries to make it so that Prince Daniel shoots Odette. But I think he's like, no, it's too beautiful. I can't shoot that swan.
This Barbie movies are singularly responsible for the "Would you still love me if I was a worm?" cultural conversation.
Maybe, huh?
Because every Barbie movie seems to have some sort of transformation, and the partner is like more attracted to them as their non-human form.
Yeah.
The Nutcracker was so much hotter as the Nutcracker.
So much hotter as the
Barbie
Nutcracker.
is way more into him when he's made out of wood.
Yeah.
And Daniel is like gonna shoot the swan, and he like wide-eyed lowers his bow and says out loud, "So beautiful."
That is what he says.
He's in love with the swan.
Yeah.
Instantly, which
Instantly
is,
attracted
romantic.
to
Like, he
this
loves
one.
her for who she is inside or for who she's on the outside when she's both a swan and Barbie. He's just into both of those instances.
That's great.
Good for him. It works out great for the two of them.
Daniel doesn't shoot her. Rothbart is pissed and is like, well, he has one line that he's like, one arrow. That's all it would have taken. That's like how he says it.
That's how he says it too. That's all you need. Doesn't that really suck?
Yeah.
One arrow. That's all I would have taken.
That's really good.
That's what he sounds like, everybody.
It's so funny, though. It's so flippant. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to spell get you, Prince Daniel.
I'm going to spell get you, Prince Daniel.
That's pretty good. But Odette's like, no, and she stands in front of him because she's wearing the crystal. She also protects Daniel. He, like, keeps trying to get him, but gets distracted because Odile is being attacked by a bunch of skunks. Because, like we said, Rothbart turned all of the fairy citizens of this forest into little animals. Most notably is Carlita, who is a little Spanish skunk. And so they leave.
Rothbart is a better father than Odile deserves. He's, like, going to kill his rival and, like, claim the throne. And his daughter is like, "Dad, can you help me?" And he's like, "Ugh.
Gotta go."
Sorry.
And he just leaves.
And he
so
walks
they leave.
away.
They leave to go take care of her
To
skunk
help her not
issue.
smell so bad, which is tender.
So Daniel's like, "I love you, and I'm gonna protect you, and you should marry me." And Odette's like, "No, I have to figure out how to beat Rothbart first."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, well, if you want to come to my ball, you should." And Odette's like, "Maybe."
She's like, "Maybe. I really want to help these people." So remember all those forest animals that Rio talked about? They're actually, during the day, children with adult minds.
I think they're elves or fairies.
What's an elf
But they
if not a child
do
with
look
an
like
adult mind?
it is kind of cute because the like Shelley Kelly self-insert is a little duckling, and that's kind of sweet because the Barbie Odette swan. I don't know.
Why is that
nice.
sweet?
Because like, I don't know. There's this one moment where the little duckling girl looks up at Barbie and is like, "You're beautiful." And I think that that's a really tender moment of like...
Of Barbie telling Shelley a story about Shelley telling Barbie that she's beautiful.
Well, yeah, that is weird.
I've completely erased Shelley from this movie. I'd forgot that she has a character in this movie. I have no memory of
She
that.
has like a little self-insert, but I just think it's sweet because you're like a little duckling and you grow up into a swan. And don't tell me that baby swans aren't ducklings. I don't want to hear about it.
This is a Lord of the Rings adaptation, and Galadriel gives them a quest.
Yes.
To go bring a little piece of a leaf to a goblin man.
Yes.
Who's the best character in the Barbie cinematic universe.
Absolutely.
He's a little
Erasmus.
He's a little World of Warcraft goblin named Erasmus.
And he's ugly. Like, this is where Barbie movies start introducing just an unabashed, ugly character.
You guys know the goblin, the troll emoji?
Yeah. Oh, wow. He does look exactly like the troll emoji.
He looks like.
He definitely does. But I do just want to say, Greta Gerwig, if you're listening, get a little ugly guy.
Put a little
ugly guy. Put a little nasty little guy in your movie.
A canonically fantasy goblin.
That would be excellent.
In Greta Gerwig's Barbie.
Please.
He's cool. He's very hospitable, and they bring him this leaf.
He's like made out to be super scary, but he just... What's he use the leaf for?
I think he smokes it.
No, he puts it in a tea, and and then he's like, oh, guests, and he preps his little house, and he's so scatterbrained and
he needs
so
to find
lovable.
a book because the book has the lore, and the lore tells us
how to not be a swan anymore,
how to beat Rothbart and not be a swan.
And they look all night, and they can't find it.
It would have been my first guess, which is I think just true love turns you back into a human permanently.
Yeah, but don't you want to check your sources?
Yeah, they check their sources, and it's good.
Yeah,
but they find out that it's true love that is going to reverse this whole curse. If the person who has the stone finds true love, then everybody gets to go back to normal.
Yes.
And including all the little forest people, and the queen probably has some problem that she needs solved. Who cares?
And I think it also dissolves the magic barrier between the magic forest and the regular forest.
And it kills Rothbart.
And it kills him.
It doesn't kill him. There's no stakes to this movie, but it's true love, so they're like, well, Odette, now you have to go to this ball so you can get this guy who's already in love with you to fall in love with you.
More.
Who's very clearly in love. Like, he's already proposed to her.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, we need to
Daniel's a little simp. I love
simping,
him. I think
he's really
such
good.
A sweetie.
He's very sweet about it. So every little child is like, oh, let me teach you my cultural dance that will guarantee people to fall in love. The little porcupine guy does a Russian dance. That's fun.
That's great.
You brought up a great point, which is that the male ballet translates way better with the motion capture.
Yes.
Because it's like way more rigid movements, and there's only so many points of articulation with motion capture at this time.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to get the fluidity, but all the dudes, which are mostly just Daniel and Ivan, the little Russian hedgehog or whatever.
But in other, the Nutcracker in that final pas de deux, he's kind of what sells it.
Leaps translate.
It really, leaps are good. And the placement of male dancers' feet, which is usually a little bit more stiff, also works really, it's well, their turnout looks great in CGI.
The number one thing that's just disappointing, I think, about these movies and the dance of them is that point doesn't translate.
I know, and it should. I think I can't remember, but I hope that it does by the time we get to 12 Dancing Princesses a little bit better.
Here's what's the tricky part about ballet as a dance art form is that point doesn't really translate because you get no sense that the people that you're watching are performing an amazing feat of strength that's probably extremely painful for them.
Yeah.
And they're doing something transcendent, above the limitations of their body, which I would say is the most beautiful thing you could find in ballet is forcing your body to create something beautiful, even if it's so contrary to everything your body wants to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the hottest take on ballet, but it doesn't translate because you don't get the effort. But leaps read as effort because once you're fighting gravity in that way, which is what point is doing. You're I
think we talked about this a little bit in Nutcracker. Is that the female dancers, so specifically Barbie's mocap, lacks gravity, right? So it's it's not impressive that she's up on point because why couldn't she just always walk on? She basically does walk on point.
We're cultured. We don't just watch Barbie movies. We went to the ballet recently and we saw Sleeping Beauty.
We did. Also another Tchaikovsky piece.
And the principal dancer, there's a very famous sequence where she's meeting all the courtiers.
Yes.
And she's on one leg on point, meeting each of them for probably 3 minutes.
Yes,
and
it's the Rose Adagio.
Yeah, look it up.
And it's the really famous choreography.
Well, I think what gets everybody to stand up and cheer is that you can see this ballerina shaking. And you're watching her use every muscle of her body to maintain that perfect balance and then the imitation of lightness, but you're also seeing the weight at the same time, which is what makes it beautiful and what sells it. There's none of that in motion capture, which is unfortunate. That was a big tangent. What's happening in this movie? Hold on. I
Okay.
remember what's happening in this movie because they all do their dances and it's like, no, Spanish dance. It's a lovely dance that the skunk and the fox do together. Mm-hmm. And then the fairy queen is like, no, let me show you this like point dance. We're going to do, traditional Western European ballet, and that's obviously going to be the thing that wins him over, which is maybe this I don't know. But she's like, I just don't think that this is going to win the prince over. And the fairy queen's like, I have an idea. And she goes, boop, and magically shortens Barbie's dress by like a foot.
Yes.
And that's like, done.
Excellent.
We got him, which I think is really funny.
Really good.
But it's really just so we can watch Barbie do point. Mm-hmm. But,
But I love the implied that Barbie's calves are what are going to seal the deal.
Her godmother's like, a little leg is not going to hurt.
So in the middle of this little dance sequence thing, Rothbart comes back and steals Erasmus.
Picks him up.
Takes the troll, picks him up.
We told you, he's a little guy.
He's a little guy.
Oh,
he's
by the way,
thicky guy, but he just lifts him up.
They're trying to justify the anti-Semitic caricature by making Rothbart able to just turn into a bird.
He's like a hawk for a lot of the movie. That
justifies his beak-like nose. It doesn't. But he turns into a giant bird sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is weird that's what he turns Barbie into. You get the sense he loves being able to turn into a bird, and he finds it very useful.
Yeah.
And so why do that to Barbie?
It is really, that is like a premise of the ballet, right? Is like, why two birds, though?
Why two birds, though?
Why do we pick another swan to kill the first swan when we could just pick something that eats swans?
Gator.
Where is the Barbie Swan Lake with a gator?
Barbie Swan Swamp.
I think doesn't Mila Kunis play the gator in Black Swan?
Mm-hmm. She's the gator. Yeah, that's a great point.
So Barbie has to go on this big journey to save Erasmus, which gives Rothbart and Odile enough time to show up to the ball. And Odile is magically enchanted to look just like Barbie. And Odile is wearing this really cool black ballet, like tutu outfit. But with the magic, she just looks like Barbie in Barbie's dress.
Rank this Barbie dress.
The Swan
for
Lake
all the
dress?
Dresses that we've seen so far.
I think it's great for a Swan Lake movie, but it just doesn't, the bird motif, the feathers don't call to me.
I think it's the second best dress.
Nice.
In
Rapunzel.
Barbie, after Rapunzel, but ahead of the Nutcracker dress.
That's good. I just don't really have an opinion on it.
We talked about how animation kind of frees you up a little bit on one of these episodes, and there is some fun filmmaking in this sequence where like Odile moves behind Daniel and we see her switch between being Barbie and being Odile.
Yes.
And you can do that without any cuts or edits, so
it's pretty cool.
It works much better in animation, I think, it requires a lot less work to make it function, because you would have to have an edit there if you were doing this in real life, live action. So that's a fun sequence.
It's a really nice little sequence. And it's funny because they show up and Rothbart's like, not a word. And Odile's like, why not? Because she's Maggie Wheeler. And that's funny. So then Odette just doesn't talk this whole sequence. And so Daniel's like, will you marry me? And she literally just bourrées away because she can't say anything.
Walks away.
So then Rothbart can sweep in and is like,
you want to marry my daughter? And he's like, yes, I do.
Yes,
and he's
I do.
Like, oh, well, do you love her? And he's like, I love her with all my heart. And he's like, haha, got you.
Yeah, so...
And then Barbie dies.
Odette, who, like, just saved Erasmus, is flying as fast as she can with her little swan body to get to the ball, witnesses this happen, realizes that Daniel actually loves Odile, and Barbie collapses and dies.
Yeah, she just, like, falls out of the air, because she's a swan at this point.
Which, once she collapses, then she becomes Barbie again.
And then she turns back into Barbie.
Which kind of gets us into this big chase scene going down where Rothbart's like, hooray, I've got the crystal. He plucks it off of Odette's lifeless body. But Daniel tries to save her. And Daniel ends up throwing himself in front of Odette to save her from Rothbart's magic powers. And it's pretty intimate. They both get hit by this wave of magic, and then they fall onto each other like perfect, like face to face, and that counts as an act of true love, not just proposals.
Hands interlocking, and everyone's standing like 15 feet away from them, just looking at them laying on top of each other, smiling. It's like that's love, baby.
That's love.
Two people unconscious on top of each other.
Yes. So the spell is broken.
And it counts, yeah, magically. And it counts. Contractually, it works.
It works. The spell is broken. They go to the forest, and the villagers and the magical citizens can all live together. Daniel and Odette get married. Rothbart becomes a cuckoo clock. The end. That's the plot.
And then we cut back to Shelley, and she's like, I get it. I have to be brave now. And Barbie's like, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. That was the moral of this story.
'Twas.
And then it's over. And then you get the biggest jump scare of all time if you've ever studied screenwriting. Because this movie had a man named Robert McKee as the story consultant who literally wrote, like, every book on screenwriting. If you take a screenwriting course at a college level, you will be required to read Story by Robert McKee. Mm-hmm. And if you're interested in screenwriting, you should read Story by Robert McKee. And I guess he worked on a lot of Barbie
movies.
Which I think is why this movie actually has a plot structure.
Yeah,
that
and
makes
more
sense
characterization.
with the protagonist and with an active protagonist who is performing actions and goes through some sort of change.
Yeah.
It's very mild, but I hope they paid him a lot of money. And I imagine he didn't do a lot of work. So, get that bag, Robert McKee.
Yes.
But good for them for trying.
Maybe this one should be called Barbie, I Can Get That Bag.
I think Barbie phoned this one in.
Maybe
I think she was just given this script and the studio kind of demanded it. She tried her best.
Yeah.
That's no, she didn't. But she tried a little bit.
She did it. She did it.
This movie in the credits has somebody credited, a man named Luke Diver was credited as the Grip, which is just...
Can you explain what a grip is?
A grip is this kind of catch-all term for a person on the film set who's setting things up. And this is an animated film. What's he gripping?
What's he gripping?
What you gripping?
What you gripping?
Luke Diver, if you're out there, just tell me what you're gripping.
Let us know.
Because... there's no cameras. There's no C-stands. There's not a single C-stand that they needed for this movie. What did you grip?
I don't know. I have one last thing to say before we go to the lobby.
Yeah.
In true 2000s fashion, the credits of this movie has kind of an R&B inspired song called Wings, which was written by a guy that worked on a lot of things for a lot of TV shows. What I found most notably is that he contributed to the writing of Oops, I Did It Again and Hit Me Baby One More Time for Britney Spears. But I just think this is so funny because it lists all of these hits that he worked on, and then his Wikipedia says his solo-written Wings was the end credit song in the animated Barbie of Swan Lake movie, which was recorded by Leslie Mills, which just... Wings is not very good. It's not a very good song. It's a pretty bad song. Musically, it's bouncing all over. It's really weird. And so I just kind of I don't know, it felt like a little bit of a dig on this guy of yeah, when he collaborates, he can write for pop stars. But when he tries to do anything by himself, it's Wings, which isn't very good.
Not your best work, Jason.
Not your best work, Jason. Can we go to the lobby?
Please.
What do you want to get? Because I know what I want.
What are you going to get?
I specifically am going to the Alamo Drafthouse lobby, which we visited recently.
That's pretty far away.
Yeah, but I'll be back. Don't worry, I'll run. But I want a pepperoni pizza and mozzarella sticks and a cookie milkshake.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. You want to share?
Sure.
Okay.
You're paying?
Yum, yum, good. That was a great lobby visit.
Crispy pepperoni. I like that.
Yum. Today, we are not talking about anything related to art or music, because I actually genuinely don't have many opinions on Swan Lake other than the universal ones that everybody has, so I don't really have much to contribute. Go watch Natalie Portman.
That's funny because my B segment also has nothing to do with this movie.
Yeah. I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how we both feel about Barbie of Swan Lake. But today we're doing something cool. Today we're doing something that's going to hold everybody's attention because today we are going to talk about skunk anuses. Woo! Pew, 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 pew.
What?
Skunk anuses. That's right. We're doing a science segment today. So, on my most recent watch of Barbie Swan Lake, one of the things that really stuck out to me, like I said, one of these fairies, Carlita, has been turned into a skunk. And, of course, there are lots of skunk stink escapades throughout the movie. But one thing that I noticed is that, Barbie Swan Lake will not allow anything close to a fart joke. Not at all. And so when Carlita skunk sprays anybody, she flicks the scent out of the tip of her tail. It is not anywhere near where her butthole would presumably be.
Yeah. Well, duh. Don't skunks have kind of a scorpion kind of situation going on? They gotta scent gland.
I was really hoping
right at the
that
tip
there
of
was,
their
you know,
tail.
I really wanted to give Barbie the benefit of the doubt here. I don't know how many of the doctorates that she has. I don't know if she had her skunkology one yet. So, you know, but I did just want to kind of dive into how realistic is Carlita as a skunk. So let's begin. Here's a couple things about skunks.
Are skunks indigenous at all to Spain?
I don't know.
Because Carlita seems to be from Spain.
Carlita seems to be from Spain. I don't know. I'm sure there's skunks in Spain.
There's gotta be skunks in Spain.
There's gotta be skunks in Spain. They're everywhere.
All right, carry on.
So the scent from a skunk is an organic chemical compound of thiols, which contain sulfhydryl. So basically, what's coming out of a skunk is like alcohol, but from sulfur. These are also the chemicals found in decaying flesh and fecal matter.
How is that like alcohol?
It's like fermented in a very similar process chemically.
By what? They got yeast up in there?
I don't know, babe. I didn't do that much research.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
Stop ruining my cool segment. Yeah, so basically skunks are full of like the sulfur equivalent of alcohol. And this compound is stored in glands that line their butthole. It is not in the tip of their tail. So Barbie, do better. But also, everybody, I have to tell you something really horrible, is that we have these glands. We have the same glands as skunks do. And so do dogs. So do a lot of mammals. And so actually that's why dogs like sniff each other's butts, is because the like liquid inside of these glands often carries a very particular scent to the individual. And so they use these glands as marking their territory, and they sniff each other's butts because you can identify an individual based on the scent of these glands.
I don't have these glands.
You do have these glands.
Not a chance.
You do have these glands. It's just that we have them as humans inside of the anus, and skunks have them where they can protrude out of the anus when they're threatened.
When skunks do it in real life, is there a big nasty green cloud that comes out?
Hang on, I'm getting there. This odor can last up to a month. And I do need to say this, tomato juice does not work.
Apocryphal. It
does not work. It isn't doing anything to add to the chemical compound or kind of resolve it in any way. It just adds tomato scent on top of the thiols that have been sprayed on you.
Because it's not actually taking away the odor at all, but tomato juice is such a strong smell that it causes olfactory paralysis.
So the thiols in the skunk spray have another chemical element that allows it to bind to things really well. And it's pretty hard to neutralize. And tomato juice is not the way. You just are also tomato scented.
Well, not also tomato. Like, from what I understand, all you could smell is tomato juice.
All you can smell is the tomato juice.
It works if you don't want people to smell skunk on you.
But these thiols stick around for about a month. So unless you want to be bathing in tomato juice all the time, it's not going to work. So I do have to say, because Odile gets sprayed with these skunks before she goes to the ball, and then presumably takes a bath in tomato juice. And then the next day goes to... So Homegirl probably still reeks at this ball, and she can't talk. And Prince Daniel still loves her. Maybe Odette did deserve to die, because he does love Odile.
Or maybe Daniel just likes marinara.
Just in case you were wondering, you do need, like, hydrogen peroxide and baking soda to kind of neutralize the situation. It actually takes a skunk about a week to rebuild up all of this spray storage, so they tend to avoid using it unless absolutely necessary. It's just stored in the glands.
How big?
I don't know, babe.
Got little tanks like camel stuff?
They've got just these glands that store the scent storage, so it takes them a week to kind of replenish that storage, to recharge. So Carlita's just kind of throwing this stuff around willy-nilly, though. So that also I don't think is very biologically apt.
She's got a lot stored up. Does she... Well, here's my theory. Every day she turns back into Carlita, or the other way around.
I think they're animals during the day.
So every night she turns back into Carlita, and then when day comes, she turns back into a skunk. It's like a reset.
Oh,
like
maybe
a
that's
biological reset. She turns back into the same skunk.
Okay.
Every day. There's
with
no continuity.
With a full gland reset.
Because these people don't seem to be aging, right? True. So it's like you're trapped in the same day physiologically. So she's got a full gland. Ready to go every day.
She's charged. She's locked and loaded. This spray can be launched 15 feet. That's fun. And I watched a lot of videos of skunks spraying people.
It's got to be like
and
wet,
dogs,
right? Like, is it like water that they shoot
and everything?
out?
And I have also horrible news. So the glands are so freaky looking. They look like little kidney beans, and they just out of their butt. And what comes out is unfortunately, a neon lime green yellowy liquid.
There really is a cloud of stink smell.
It is literally a cloud, a vapor that, like, condenses when it touches things.
Got this right.
So it drips off of their legs. Like, you just are these green dripping little skunks after they spray you. They're wet. Which, like, this is why I was thinking about this, is because when Odile gets sprayed, we were like, why is she so drenched right now? So like, that's not how skunk spray works. But no, it, like, she's surrounded by these 3 skunks that are like, dun, 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 and spraying her. There's no way she doesn't smell bad at the ball.
Or go blind.
It causes temporary blindness. Nobody's ever gone blind from
Has anybody ever been 4 skunk teamed
You know what?
up
Maybe
on
not.
Like that?
Maybe she is blind.
You should go and watch this scene because it's insane how sopping wet Odile is.
She's shiny. It is like glistening on her face.
Her
it is
hair
nasty.
is like dripping.
And now that I know that part is pretty accurate. Ugh. My goodness. But one of the videos that was recommended to me after looking up all of these skunk videos was how to survive a skunk spray attack, which really got me thinking, like, has anybody ever really been in danger around a skunk? Like, has anybody died or been killed by a skunk? So I did a little bit of digging.
This feels like this is going to be a downer.
No, hang on. I found one report of a man that did unfortunately pass away while hunting skunks, but it was because somebody else shot him with a crossbow on purpose.
He got murdered.
So I would say that maybe, I don't know, maybe it was a skunk with a crossbow. And then additionally, I did find one other article that was called "A Skunk Killed My Beloved Son," but it was behind a paywall, so I don't really know if that's metaphorical or what that's about.
Sounds like it's a parable.
Yeah. And then some species of skunk do a cute little handstand before they spray you.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds really cute.
Anyways.
Great
and that
stuff,
has
babe.
been Skunk Butts, my segment. That's super cool.
I think you're going to like my segment a little bit more. Not the audience. I think you, Rio Lefebvre, are going to like my segment a lot.
As if. Okay, whatever. Let's see it.
Well, I also had no inspiration from watching Barbie of Swan Lake other than the emotional and psychological torment of trying to figure out what this grip did on set.
Yeah.
And how they got Robert McKee to be a story consultant. So that's all I've got for you on the film end. So today, Rio, I think just to broaden our horizons,
okay,
we're going to play a game.
A game?
And there's going to be a prize.
Darn it, I do like this. Okay.
There's a prize.
I was really prepared to, like, kind of do a little bit of being like, yeah, whatever, cool.
No,
I'm really enthusiastic.
I knew you were going to like my bit
all right.
a little bit better.
Lay it on me.
If you can get 8 out of 10 Barbie trivia questions correct,
okay,
we're going to buy you the Barbie as Rapunzel.
Oh, no, you guys. Okay. All right.
And we'll do a whole video with her.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. Okay.
If Rio can get an
8 out of 10.
You can only get 2 wrong.
These are just Barbie trivia?
Barbie trivia. Have nothing to do with the movies.
Okay. I don't know. I'm more of a movie gal than Barbie.
Question number 1.
Okay.
What year was Barbie introduced? It's multiple choice.
Okay. Phew.
Don't worry. 1955, 1957, 1959, or 1961?
55.
Off to a bad start,
oh,
my
no.
love.
Oh, no. When was it?
1959 is the correct answer.
I really thought she was around longer than that.
It's okay. I'll probably cheat for you so that we can get you this doll. What is the value of a 1959 Barbie in mint condition today? $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, or $10,000?
$10,000.
Correct.
Excellent.
$10,000 for a mint condition,
all right, yeah,
original run Barbie.
Wait, in the striped swimsuit, probably?
This one is multiple choice. I have no clue. I didn't look it up.
Okay.
This is from divagirlpartiesandstuff.com.
Excellent.
If you want to play along at home.
Yes.
There's 10 more questions that we'll do on another episode. So if you want to look ahead, go to divagirlpartiesandstuff.com. This is called the Barbie Trivia Questions. I won't give you the multiple choice on this one at first.
Okay.
Unless you really need it.
Okay.
But if you can get this right, this is a softball. If you
Okay.
can get this right, I will abolish your first wrong.
Her middle name is Millicent.
What is Barbie's full name?
Oh, Barbara Millicent Mattel.
Do you need the multiple choice?
I do need the multiple choice.
Is it A, Barbara Ann Roberts,
No.
B, Barbara Ann Robertson,
No.
or C, Barbara Millicent Roberts.
It's Barbara Millicent Roberts. I didn't know that her last name was Roberts.
It's Roberts. I didn't know either. We just call her Barbara Millicent. And we knew that was her middle name.
I did.
I didn't think her last name was Millicent, but it's Roberts. Barbie was named after... This is just a fun little extra piece of trivia. Who's Barbie named after? Where did Barbie get her name?
The guy that made her. His kid.
That's true, but also a little bit sexist of you. Because the founder of Mattel was a duo, a married couple.
Really?
Ruth and husband Elliot. Ruth and Elliot Handler was their names. They founded Mattel. They invented Barbie. They had a daughter named Barbara Handler.
Huh.
And so the doll is named Barbie. Another fun, potentially disturbing fact, they also had a son named Ken. Moving on. What color were the first Barbie's eyes?
Is this multiple choice?
White, blue, green, or brown?
Well, now they're blue. So that makes me feel like maybe this is a trick question.
It's just a question.
Because I know that Barbie has blue eyes now. White?
Correct.
Yes.
She had just white irises.
Ah,
back
yeah,
in the day.
baby.
Yeah, pretty cool.
We didn't invent colors until the 80s.
In the early 1960s, Barbie took on the style and sophistication of the decade's most famous trendsetter.
In the 60s?
This isn't the question, but I wonder who you think Barbie got her fashion from in the 60s. Who would you say is the most famous trendsetter?
Twiggy?
Jackie Kennedy.
Jackie
of
Kennedy?
Course. Especially the haircut. What was Jackie Kennedy's famous haircut called?
Oh, dear. Okay.
A, the bubble cut, B, the bob cut, or C, the page boy cut?
Well, I've seen a page boy cut, and I don't think that looks like what I remember Jackie having.
Do you think that Jackie had a bob?
No. I don't know what we defined as a bob in the 60s.
The same thing. It's from the 60s.
What was the first one?
Bubble cut.
I want it to be that one.
You're right. It's the bubble cut.
Yes.
In 1967, how did Mattel market the new and updated Mod Barbie with a twist and turn waist? A, name Mod Barbie contest for a chance to win Barbie prizes. Like name the Barbie for a chance to win. B, trade in your old Barbie for an all-new Barbie doll.
Oh, that seems way too sustainable.
Or C, new Mod Barbie for a $1.50 cereal box coupon.
The cereal box.
That is incorrect.
No!
Mattel is getting sustainable with it. You could trade in your old Barbie.
Barbie. That's so good. They should do that.
I think that's
Maybe
really
they
great.
still do, but I hope they should do that.
You could trade in your old Barbie and get like an extra like $1.50 to buy the new Barbie because I wanted people to have the new toy.
That's rad.
Yeah, it's really cool. But we've got 2 more questions, and you can't miss any. Who was the first black doll in the Barbie family of dolls? Francie, Stacy, or Christy?
Stacy's her little sister. I only know Nikki.
That's not
from Nikki and Teresa. That's not an option?
That's not an option.
What was the first one?
Francie.
Ugly name. I hope it's not that. Okay. It's not Stacy, because Stacy's her little sister. And then what was the last one?
Christy.
But there's a baby Chrissy doll. Is it Francie?
It's Francie.
Okay.
Who you called on record as having an ugly name.
I think it is an ugly name. I don't like Francie or Francine or any of that.
Who was the first celebrity to become a doll in the Barbie family?
This is a fun question, and I think it's Martha Washington.
You're wrong.
Okay, no. Okay, give me the multiple choice.
Marilyn Monroe.
Okay.
Twiggy.
Okay.
Cher.
It could be either. It could be any of these.
This is the last question.
Oh, no.
Everything hangs on this one.
I've never seen a Marilyn Monroe Barbie doll.
Because I love you. 50-50. It's not Marilyn Monroe.
Okay, I do want to eliminate that one. It's either Cher or Twiggy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've never seen a Cher Barbie doll either, but I just can imagine it.
It is Twiggy.
Oh my goodness.
You got it. You win. You win.
Okay, is
It
there
was
a Cher
Twiggy.
Barbie doll?
She was introduced as like Barbie's best friend.
Twiggy?
Twiggy.
Canonically
Yeah.
Twiggy?
Mm-hmm.
That's
They
incredible.
went really hard in the 60s. We've got 10 more of these, so we can do another one for your chance to win another Barbie doll of your choosing
I'm going to cry.
next time. How
I
about
get the
that?
Barbie Rapunzel doll?
Yeah, we're going to get you the Barbie Rapunzel. So keep your eyes on our like Instagram and TikTok. We'll probably show Rio crying as she
So
opens
excited.
this doll.
I'm crying right
Y'all,
now.
Barbie dolls, especially like the vintage ones from these series, like this run of films, not as expensive, as you would think. They've kind of just remained
Because
their
that
value.
10,000 OG one is really expensive, but
How much do you think a Barbie's Rapunzel costs?
I I looked it up, and it's like $15 or something.
They're
right?
like kind
you gotta
of
pay for shipping
maintained
and
their market
old,
value, which is like, inflation and all that. Yeah, but I guess that means they're actually maybe worth slightly less. So that's all I got for you today. Congratulations. You've won. It was close. I was actually worried for you, and I didn't know what I was going to do if you didn't win, because I would have felt really bad not getting you this Barbie. I probably would have just bought it for you anyway.
Oh,
can you imagine?
I did it. Did I even cheat or anything? I think I didn't.
I mean, you didn't cheat. I helped a little bit.
I got multiple choices, and I needed some eliminated.
Yeah, but that's funpartiesforgirlsathome.com gave us the multiple choice. Yeah. Totally check that link out. It's got lots of fun Barbie trivia on there. You can read up on each of these facts, and, I think you'd be surprised how early in the Barbie run they introduced their first black doll, which is commendable from what I can
I've
tell.
never heard of Francie.
Yeah, we should check
Ugly
Francie
name,
out.
girl.
Probably a great doll, though.
Probably a great doll.
We'll check it out. Thanks for listening. This has been Mind Over Mattel. This was Barbie of Swan Lake. Before we read our reviews, as Rio frantically is searching for one live on the podcast, I'm going to give Barbie of Swan Lake, and this is where the hate mail is going to start, isn't it? 4 out of 12.
4 out of 12. You know what?
The structure's there, but it doesn't have the heart.
Even I'm going with a 6.5 out of 12 dancing princesses.
And I think there will be worse movies than this for sure, but so far, I may have to come back to this one, but not my jam. Here's a review. I'm changing it up. We've been on Letterboxd, but we're going to switch over to IMDb for my review. This is from a user named Malay, M-M-A-L-A-I-S. Thanks for this review. The caption, the title of this review is Great Movie for Girls Which Are Really Crazy About Barbie. And here's the meat of this review. The animation is not the standard we are used to, especially compared to, for example, The Matrix Part 2. But my daughter of 7 does not care about this. It's her favorite movie of all time, also due to the bright colors and the humor somehow girls like. As far as I'm concerned, the soundtrack is great. 10 out of 10 for my daughter, 5 out of 10 for me. So we can kind of assume an average of a 7.5 for that review.
Yeah.
Which, I think maybe homies contextualizing it. I can respect a dad who watches Barbie of Swan Lake and is like, it's no Matrix 2.
With the humor that girls sometimes like. I just want to give a shout out to Sarah, who gave this 4 stars and said that they broke up with their boyfriend while watching this. I think it's a great movie to break up to. So props to you, Sarah.
More power to you. We love you, Sarah.
We love you, Sarah.
You're always welcome
and
here.
you deserve better.
Yeah, you deserve better.
So.
What are we watching next week?
What are we watching next week? I think it's Princess and the Pauper time.
No way.
I think it's Princess and the Pauper time.
Y'all, this is the first one that will be my first time watch, and I've been waiting for this day. Congratulations to both of us.
Let me just double check.
I'm really excited. My expectations are sky high.
Next week, we are in fact watching Barbie, Princess and the Pauper.
Yes.
Martin Short-time, baby.
I forgot. Can't wait.
And he goes hard.
See you all then.
See you all then. I get a new doll. Bye.